Can I have your attention? We'll get our meeting called to order. It's good to see all of you this afternoon. I do want to remind you that we have agendas on the podium back here, so if you'd like to grab one and follow along, that is certainly fine. I also want to remind you that being the first Monday of the month, this is actually our council workshop versus our regular council meeting, which occurs on the third Monday of the month. Tonight, we have two public hearings that will take place first, and then we'll open our workshop meeting, and tonight will be for discussion only. We will vote on only one item, and that's the approval of the agenda that has been presented, and then everything else will be for discussion purposes, and we'll vote on those agenda items at that third Monday meeting, what we call the regular council meeting. We do have two council members that are absent this evening. Vice Mayor Josh Reynolds and Councilman Michael Franks are not with us this evening. They had other commitments that they had to be at, but we do have a quorum. So three of us together do present a quorum, and so we can conduct the business of the city. So at this time, I'm going to call on our city attorney who will open up our public hearing. So Rob, I'll turn everything over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight we have two public hearings on two applications. The first zoning application is PP 24014, submitted by Lester Cromer Jr. He requesting a conditional use permit to operate a cigar lounge at 214 Main Street. The property is currently zoned commercial downtown. At this time, I'd like to ask the council conflict questions. Have any of these applicants or opponents to the application contributed at least $250 to any of the campaigns for election during the past 2 years?
No.
Do you or any members of your family have a property interest that would be affected by the proposed rezoning or reclassification of the property, whether it is a positive or negative impact?
No.
Mr. Cromer, I think you may. Is that right? If you wouldn't mind stepping down, please, sir, and have a seat in the audience. And lastly, do you or any members of your family have a financial interest in any business entity that has a property interest in any real property that would be affected by the proposed rezoning or reclassification of the property, whether it is a positive or negative impact?
No. But I have a question.
Sure.
With now just two of us, can we continue on? I know the public hearing will take place first, but it didn't dawn on me that with Lester not here, we don't have a quorum. When we get into the portion of discussion, can we discuss this item this evening?
I think that's a very good question.
Yeah.
I think we can go ahead with the public hearing.
Public hearing, yeah.
And let me ponder the question.
Okay, we've got some time to get to that on our workshop agenda, so.
All right,
okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you, Rob.
All right, prior to taking any public comment, I'd ask, I think it is Ms. Loretta, if you would just tell me and inform the public what this application is about.
Thank you. Mr. Cromer has applied for a conditional use permit to have a cigar lounge on the property is currently being used for retail, and of course it is in a downtown commercial district, and it went to before the Planning Commission, and they recommended approval of this. There were some questions concerning the atmosphere and the air control and stuff like that, and he did. I don't know if you had given out a copy of that tonight, but I do have a copy that talks about his air purification system. If anybody has any questions, it's going to be it's like a high-end lounge. It's not a bar. Of course, they will more than likely have alcohol sales, but the bar will be in the back, and then there will be sort of a you go into a real nice hotel of the lounge area, and they'll have chairs and sofas sitting around for people to sit and mingle. But it's not what some people think it's going to be, a bar structure, but it's not. The cigar lounges are a controlled environment, but the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this request.
In favor of the application? Mr. Grower? If you'll state your name and your address.
Good evening. I'm Lester Cromer Jr. I live at 112 11th Street West. I stand before you today to advocate for the approval of conditional zoning and alcohol license for the business downtown on Main, located at 214 Main Street South. Cigars is, time for you to play the video for me 1 second. Cigars have been a unique role in American heritage, representing leisure, fellowship, and cultural importance. For centuries, people have been enjoying cigars. Nations, leaders, world leaders, from Winston Churchill to United States presidents. Andrew Jackson, Theodore Roosevelt, Nixon, and John F. Kennedy, and entertainers influencing social connections and especially sports. In essence, cigars are a treasured part of American heritage, blending history, craftsmanship, and social traditions. Downtown on Main aims to be a premium destination for cigar enthusiasts and connoisseurs of rare and aged spirits, fine wines, crafted beers, and specialty coffees. Our establishment will offer a unique experience in the city's heart. Our target audience includes professionals, executives, and individuals who appreciate the finer things in life. The cigar market consists of a growing trend of consumers seeking premium, high-control products and experiences. We will cater to this demand by offering a meticulously curated selection. The hours of operation will be Sundays from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday and Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. We will have a membership-based loyalty program offering exclusive discounts, regular events, tastings, and workshops to enhance customers' knowledge and appreciation. We will collaborate with surrounding restaurant businesses to give customers food ordering options. So I will share the wealth with other surrounding businesses. We're dedicated to addressing the smoke control concerns to ensure a pleasant experience for all patrons and installing state-of-the-art smoke control and air purification systems to ensure neighboring businesses are unaffected. We will work closely with the code and fire department to ensure our establishment is top-notch. By approving this proposal, you will endorse a business venture and support revitalizing of our downtown area. This establishment has the potential to attract locals and visitors alike, boosting foot traffic and stimulating economic activity in nearby shops and restaurants. Let us seize the opportunity to enhance the vibrancy of downtown Tifton and create a space where memories are made and friendships are forged. The Harper Agency, who owns the building, has given me their blessing by awarding me the lease after researching the proposed equipment for smoke control concerns. Right now, Jonathan, I want to play a 45-second video of the smoke control system, Blue Ox commercial air cleaner, which is going to be the main one that hangs in the ceiling, and I will be buying 2 of these. So this is one, and they're demonstrating where they have 2 smoke bombs inside of a tractor trailer, and it has 1 Blue Ox in the back. So it spans 5 minutes, but it's condensed in 45 seconds to show you how quickly and how proficient that system is. But again, that's just one system. I have another system where I have 6 on the walls, and then another system, a third system, is going to be on floor levels throughout. So that way I have ceiling, all of the walls surrounded, and also ones on the floor level where people are sitting. So that's a 3-level. Could you play the video to demonstrate?
Demonstrating the effectiveness of our Blue Box air cleaners, we burned 2 industrial-sized smoke bombs inside of a closed 26-foot moving trailer. As you can see, after a couple of quick air changes with our 3,000 CFM air cleaner, all of the smoke is quickly removed from the space. We have several different models with varying filter configurations to best fit your application. Let us help you with air cleaner. And air cleaner is waiting for your home.
Thank you for your time and consideration. Any questions?
You have any questions? Okay, good. I don't think so. Lel, I do have one quick question. I know you talked about having the the smoke control systems on the ceiling, the walls, and the floor.
And the floor.
So that way, we're sure there's no smoke's gonna go upstairs into the residential
No.
tenants and
Yeah.
permeate through to the surroundings.
Yeah,
Okay.
and plus there are firewalls, so smoke is
Perfect.
not traveling through the walls at all.
Right, that's a good point, okay. That was my only
But
question.
again, I will be working with the code and the fire department closely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is anyone else here who'd like to speak in favor of the application? Is anyone here who'd like to speak in opposition to the application? Yes, sir. If you would like to come up and state your name and your address, please.
Lee Turner, 1134 Tata Sparks Road, but also own a business on Main Street, Beulah's Antiques, 323 Main Street. My name is Lee Turner, and I'm a volunteer with the American Cancer Society, Cancer Action Network, and a local business owner, and also a constituent. I urge you not to make any exceptions to any business, including a cigar bar, lounge. I request your support to protect everyone's right to breathe clean, smoke-free air in all workplaces. No one should have to choose between their health and a paycheck. Our community has had a smoke-free law in place since 2005, and the health and safety of our community should not be used as a bargaining chip. Secondhand smoke contains more than 7,000 chemicals, hundreds of which are toxic, and about 70 can cause cancer. So there is no safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke. In fact, secondhand smoke causes nearly 42,000 deaths, including 7,300 lung cancer deaths among people who do not smoke each year in the United States. Those exposed to secondhand smoke at home or at work increase their risk of developing lung cancer by 20 to 30%. We cannot allow Tifton workers to become another statistic. Tifton can do and must do better. Additionally, air purification technology does not protect individuals from the harmful effects of breathing in secondhand smoke. The Surgeon General has concluded that even separating people who smoke from those who don't, cleaning the air and ventilating buildings cannot eliminate exposure to secondhand smoke. The only effective way to fully protect people who do not smoke is to eliminate smoking in indoor public places. The U.S. Surgeon General also confirmed that low levels of smoke exposure, including secondhand tobacco smoke, leads to rapid and sharp increase in dysfunction and inflammation of the lining of the blood vessels, which implicated heart attacks and stroke damage from tobacco smoke. Also, the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers adopted a document that states at present, and the only means of effectively eliminating the health risks associated with indoor exposure is to ban smoking activity. No other engineering approach, including current and advanced diffusion and ventilation or air cleaning technologies, have demonstrated or should be relied upon to control risks from the environmental tobacco smoke. Tifton passed laws that were proven to promote good health, well-being, and to make our community a safe place to live. Please do not compromise health with an exemption. I hope I can count on you to protect our smoke-free ordinance and the citizens of our community. And I've got some handouts here that for each one of the commissioners and city manager to look at, the smoke-free and about ventilation. There was one article from one of the companies that said that that the ventilation would have to use like a tornado, like a category 6 to suck the air out, to control the air. But we need to think about our community walking down Main Street, all of our tourists, the two businesses next door, and the people living above them. We don't need to have them to be subject to that secondhand smoke. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here that'd like to speak in opposition to this application?
Oh, she wanted to speak in favor, Rob.
Okay, that'd be fine.
Do I have to move this down? Can you
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
me?
If you just state your name
Okay.
and your address, please.
Okay, my name's Mary Ann Dow. We have a business about 4 doors down where this is going to go, 3rd and Main Antiques. Since we have been opened, a lot of people have been looking forward to this opening. And in oppose of Mr. Turner's statement, he needs to take address of what he's talking about because he has an employee who stands out in front of his store 5 days a week, business hours, smoking. He also has a partner who smokes and vapes. So he needs to address his own business before butting into somebody else's. But anyways, on that matter, there's been a lot of people looking forward to this opening up. There's a lot of people I know who smoke cigars, and it has been a trade for a long time. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Is anyone else who'd like to speak either in favor or in opposition to this application? Yes, ma'am. Again, if you just state your name and your address, please.
Melissa Hughes, 18 Hughes Lane, Tifton. I'm speaking in favor of, I'm an occasional cigar smoker, and I've traveled to Atlanta to sometime smoke a cigar. While I'm there, I go, and it's called the Red Roof. And I'm here to, Red Phone Booth. And I'm here to tell you, why do we have to travel for those pleasures? We're always looking for something to do in Tifton. We're always saying there's nothing to do. We shouldn't have to travel to Atlanta to have the pleasures that you want. If you don't want secondhand smoke, don't frequent the place. So I'm in favor of it.
Anyone else like to speak on this? Yes, sir. Again, state your name and address.
Yes, good evening. My name is John Bowen, address 2617 Wilson Avenue North, Tifton, Georgia. I just want to echo the sentiments that were previously issued in that I would encourage the council to do everything within the city's power to make Tifton a business-friendly destination. We are constantly talking about wanting to attract unique, different experiences, opportunities, destinations for both Tiftonites and travelers alike. It's obviously no secret that smoking can be harmful, that second-hand smoke can certainly be harmful. That would run alongside with overeating and overdrinking. I mean, there are lots of vices that are certainly harmful when not exercised or enjoyed in moderation. So, just on a philosophical level, I would, I guess, caution the city against toying with the idea of vice policing or trying to enforce behavior modification through ordinances that are to the exclusion of individuals who may not share the same set of philosophical ideals as other individuals. In short, I would just encourage the council and the city at large to be pro-business, to really encourage and stand behind this drive to make Tifton a little Thomasville or a little baby Atlanta, or a place that's just unique and has places for people to go and enjoy. And as a fellow entrepreneur, I'd like to do my part in trying to make that happen for myself, my colleagues, and my children. And I just hope that we all keep looking towards the future and Tifton's bright path forward. Thanks.
Anyone else like to speak in favor or in opposition to this particular application? Mayor and Council, there be no further public comment. Ask this public hearing be closed.
Okay, all right, thank you, Rob.
The second application we have a public hearing on tonight is application number PP 24-009. It's submitted by 31 North Real Estate Investors, LLC. They're requesting to amend the existing plan development overlay site plan for the property located at 2202 US Highway 41 North to incorporate a drive-through on partial G. This is map and parcel number 2026045C. Again, I'd like to ask the council the conflict questions. Have any of these applicants or opponents to the application contributed at least $250 to any of the campaigns for election during the past 2 years?
No.
Do you or any members of your family have a property interest that would be affected by the proposed rezoning or reclassification of the property, whether it is a positive or negative impact?
No.
Do you or any members of your family have a financial interest in any business entity that is a property interest in any real property that will be affected by the proposed rezoning or reclassification of the property, whether it is a positive or negative impact?
No.
Again, I'd like to ask Loretta Hilton if she would come up and explain to the public what this application is about.
Thank you. This property is currently zoned GB General Business. It's located in an area that has a residential professional, a neighborhood commercial, and other general business. And to the east, across the interstate, to the west, across the interstate, is R20, which is residential with 20,000 square foot minimum. And, of course, it is separated by I-75. Mr. Bowen had looked at this property hoping to get a Dunkin' Donut there, but as he probably will state, the deal fell through. The contract had expired once the Planning Commission didn't have a quorum and meet. So he is still hoping to have something there that, and everyone that he talks to is interested in having a drive-through. Everybody I've talked to that's been contacting me about this piece of property, they mention a drive-through. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this request. I think he has a nice rendering tonight to be available for everyone to look at. I wish we'd had this for the Planning Commission so they would have understood it a little bit better, but he does have a nice plan that's put together.
All right, this time, is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this application? Ms. Bowen.
Good evening again. Shall I state my name and address?
Please do.
John Bowen, 2617 Wilson Avenue North, Tifton, Georgia, speaking on behalf of 31 North Real Estate Investors, the applicant. And if y'all will indulge, I did bring a nice little easel, a couple of poster boards, just so we can all get on the same page and get into a quick discussion. Okay, just briefly going back in time to 2018, when we proposed the idea. Shall I turn it a bit?
We're going to come down there.
Okay, great, yep. This is as big as Staples would go. I said, max it out, ma'am. Come on down. Okay, so stepping back briefly in time, I know Mr. Cromer is a relatively new councilman, but MJ has long been familiar with the project. In 2018, Tifton North was approved as a planned development overlay. As part of that approval, 31 North Real Estate Investors presented the city with a conceptual site plan that identified a number of specific parcels to be developed in addition to the proposed uses for those parcels. The parcel in question tonight is parcel G, which sits at what's called the pin corner of the site. It'd be the very highest point of the site, basically at the intersection of I-75 and 41 North. It has long been approved as a restaurant site, and after 6 years of wrangling the market and COVID and all sorts of other challenges, Michael Bowden and I finally secured a contract to sell parcel G to a Dunkin' Donuts developer. As of March 11th, that contract was still in place. We advised the developer that we would need to present a PDO amendment request to City and P&Z so that a drive-through feature could formally be approved and established as an entitlement for the site. Michael and I march up to P&Z on March 11th. Not a single member of the P&Z committee shows up, so we wait for 30 minutes, walk out with no recommendation and no clear guidance regarding when the business would be picked back up by the city. We were, of course, obligated to provide the developer with an update on Tuesday. We did so, and as of Wednesday, the contract was terminated. So that was heartbreaking, of course, as you can imagine. But we're staying optimistic. We're back to the drawing board, and we'll spend the next couple of days, months, and years trying to secure another national franchise of that quality. It is our view that it would be wise to go ahead and secure an entitlement now for a drive-through feature at Parcel G, because it's our expectation that any national quick service franchise is simply going to require a drive-through feature as just a part of their prototypical plan. It's pretty obvious and intuitive, but this is the PDO amendment process, so we're going to go through it. And what I have on the second poster board was the site plan that the Duncan developer proposed for Parcel G. Now, I must caution that because that contract has been terminated, a future plan might vary slightly, but I brought this for illustrative purposes because this is the sort of format that we will recommend to any future buyer, because it accomplishes the same two key things that every other quick service restaurant in town accomplishes. That is a lane that's dedicated for patron traffic and a lane that's dedicated for or to through traffic, so that there's not any, obviously, traffic retention, any blockage of traffic around the site. Importantly, this does nothing, a plan like this does nothing to disrupt the circular fire lane that's been established around Tifton North. And so it's kind of that straightforward, but I wanted to bring a couple of exhibits just so, you know, it can get a little bit abstract when you're talking about Tifton North and Parcel G or Track 7. This is what we are seeking, and like I said, the reasons are obvious. It's designated as a restaurant site. In hindsight, in 2018, we probably should have sought this entitlement right away. However, here we are today. The hotel at Parcel A on the west side of the site is under an obligation to break ground this summer. So we anticipate a lot of visitors that are going to be coming to the development. They'll want additional food service options and destinations. So thank you for your time. Let me ramble a little bit, but also happy to answer any questions, walk through any sticking points, because we're an open book and want this to be a citywide mandate, not just something John and Michael Bowen want.
I do have a question. If the permission is given for the drive-through and you decide to another restaurant comes that doesn't do the drive-through, it doesn't preclude you from moving forward with that restaurant. This just gives you the right to add the drive-through if you need it. Is that correct? Am I stating that correctly?
You stated it perfectly. That's right. This is simply going to represent an entitlement, an option to include the feature. Yeah.
I just want to make sure we didn't lock you into, now it's got to have a drive-through or something, so.
That's my understanding, and, okay.
It just gives it an option.
Good.
Right.
Y'all good?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else here who'd like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone like to speak in opposition to this application? Mayor and Council, no further public comment. I'd ask that
Okay.
be closed.
All right, thank you, Rob. All right, we will call to order now our council workshop. Gentlemen, you have before you the agenda that Jessica sent out to us last week for our review. So I'll take a motion concerning the agenda, either approval or with any changes.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So that does carry. All right, I have a proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month. Is there anyone here tonight with child abuse? Oh, perfect. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, to come join me down front. Okay. And if, the reason we're coming down here, we have the cameras here. I should have reminded everybody that we do film all of our council meetings, and they're shown on our YouTube channel, so that's where the cameras are, so that's why we're here. All right, so whereas the City of Tifton prides itself on giving back to the community and contributing to the quality of life among our citizens, and whereas as a part of the national observance of Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month, the Tift County Commission on Children and Youth has organized a public awareness campaign with activities and services necessary to focus on awareness and prevention to eliminate child abuse. And whereas in 2023, more than 333 children suffered from some form of child abuse or neglect in Tift County. And whereas citizens are encouraged to join together to raise awareness throughout the month of April and to wear blue on Friday, April the 5th, 2024, for those children who have fallen victim to abuse and neglect, giving those abused and neglected children a chance for a safe and positive future through this national effort. And whereas a pinwheel ceremony will be held on April the 5th, 2024 at 10 a.m. to bring awareness to child abuse within our community and encourage initiatives that support healthy and thriving families. And now, therefore, I, Julie Smith, Mayor of the City of Tifton, on behalf of the Tifton City Council, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month for the City of Tifton. And I urge all citizens to join in the national effort and local events scheduled to raise awareness and to help prevent child abuse and neglect. And it has our city seal. I have signed it. Our city clerk, Jessica White, has signed it, which makes it official. So I will present this to you, sir. So thank you for the work that you do. And we have a little flyer here about April the 5th, but I'll let you share with everybody what's going on.
Hello, everybody. My name is Wesley Chambliss. I'm the president of Tift County Council on Child Abuse, and I'm also a forensic interviewer at the Paddock Egg House here, Roost Cottage and the Paddock Egg House, which is the business I work at. April the 5th, we are having a pinwheel ceremony where we're representing the children that was abused in the past year, and also, encourage everybody to wear blue. Bring this out into the light, help these children recover. We're trying to do things out in the community now to help combat child abuse. It's very difficult to do, but we want to bring awareness to the children and let them know that there is a chance if you're victimized, that you can recover and you can be a great person to this community. Thank y'all again for this. Please wear blue. We also have our blue ribbon thing that was going on now, where anybody can purchase a blue ribbon, put it outside of their community or any business they have in Sylvester. So please help us. That will always help our community. Thank y'all.
The pinwheel ceremony is at the Tift County Public Pool, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Recreation Department pool.
Yes, ma'am. At 10 a.m.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much, Wesley. We appreciate it. So encourage everyone to come out, support that special event. One child on this proclamation is too many. So for 333, that's disturbing. But the work that you do makes a great deal of difference, because I know in years past those numbers have been higher. So thank you for the work that you do. We're greatly appreciative. Okay, thank you, sir. Oh, stop. All right, gentlemen, under new business, we have the request to designate Arts in Black as a festival, and Jessica, you've got the information on that?
Yes, ma'am. They are doing the same as they did last year. Y'all approved their request last year. It's on Saturday, the first Saturday in May, May 4th, and their time is from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., and that's when they were requesting to have alcohol.
Okay, all right. Any questions, gentlemen? This is the same thing we did last year, so, okay. All right, and that festival area is in your council packet, and information is there for that day. All right, moving on, we have a request to designate First Friday in Fullwood as a festival. I'm going to call on our Main Street Director, Hillary Culpepper, to share that information with us.
Hey, good evening, Council. As you all may remember, in the budget amendment that you all approved for the Main Street program, a list of new events and activities that my program is looking forward to hosting the remainder of this fiscal year. One of those events is being our First Friday concert. As I'm sure you all are well aware, that currently our First Friday concerts are hosted in Tift Gardens. As the temperatures are rising, the later we get into the year, we're looking forward to moving that event to Fullwood Park and having it at nighttime. So we're very much looking forward to the first Friday in May having two bands come out and do live performances. We're going to have our downtown businesses come and set up as vendors, have food trucks there selling food, but also with this seeking it to fall under the festival ordinance. That way we could allow the sale of alcohol at the event, just like every other event. You'll see in your packet the boundaries that we have outlined. So it'll basically be the stage area from Tift Avenue to Prince and to 8th Street. So we're very much confining that area. And hopefully the event will continue to grow as we continue to host it in Fullwood Park. But right now we're going to keep it very small and in close corners with each other. Very plain and simple with that. I'll work with Tipton Tourism with the cups and wristbands and with the vendors as well. We're all very much familiar of the process of that and what we need to follow. So if you all don't have any questions, that's all.
Gentlemen, any questions? You good? All right, I think we're good,
Thank you
Hillary.
so much.
Thank you so much. All right, our next item is review of the proposed projects for submittal to the Georgia Department of Transportation's Local Road Assistance Funding. I'll call on Adam Cobb to present that information.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good news. Governor Kemp saw fit to work with GDOT to give us free money to pave some roads. So,
We'll take it.
yeah, we want to jump into that. We went to our road conditions index, looked at the streets that were in some of the worst conditions, and pulled a list together. Got those estimates down for those roadways, and those are the roadways you see presented to you on there. We were awarded $333,775.57. We want to try to use every bit of that. To do that, we also want to combine that with the LMIG 24 streets that we're already planning on doing. We'll lump it all together. We'll save some money on mobilization and things like that. So we're actually getting a little more bang for our buck. But that's what I've come here tonight to present, and just to ask your consideration in approving that money from the state.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, any questions concerning that money or the LMIG project? I know, Emily, when you and I were talking today, you had mentioned that the LMIG 2024 would be completed before we added these additional roads. So, is that?
23.
23, I'm sorry,
23,
yeah.
yes.
I meant to say
23,
yeah.
LMIG 23 went out to bid today.
Okay.
So we'll have about a 30-day period and open those bids and proceed. And we're hoping to start that in the early summer months.
Okay.
And we're currently working on, just so to keep you abreast of all of it, we're currently working on the utilities for the LMIG 24.
Okay.
So that'll be pushed through, utilities will be done, and we can go ahead and start doing the LMIG 24 and the supplemental if approved.
Excellent, okay. And I know paving is always something that's of interest to everyone, so if any of our constituents, residents, businesses have questions, there's a pretty lengthy list. So if you have questions, you can certainly call us and we can get with Adam and share that information with you so that you'll know what's going on around town. It does take a lot of time to do this, and like I mentioned in one of our other meetings, we are taking care of the infrastructure under the road that might need addressing before we pave the road, so that adds a little bit of time sometimes, like you said. So please know that we're working to get as many roads paved as soon as possible, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to us, and then we'll get with Adam and get the details. All right?
Thank you.
Perfect. Any questions, guys, about Adam? Okay. Thank you, Adam. All right. Our next item is a resolution authorizing the execution of the GEMA statewide mutual aid agreement, and our fire chief, Bobby Bennett, is not able to be with us tonight, so we have Mr. Joey Fowler, who's going to present the information. Joey, we're glad to have you with us tonight. I appreciate you being here to share the details.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's time to renew the statewide mutual aid agreement with Georgia Emergency Management Agency and Homeland Security. The purpose of this agreement is to ensure that resources can be allocated if needed to your community or the city of Tifton in a timely manner. And also having this agreement signed will assist with any kind of reimbursement that may occur during that if you choose to send resources to another community, or if someone's sending them to your community, then the reimbursement can get back to those folks in a timely manner. When we say services or resources, what we're talking about can be anything from equipment to personnel, any kind of resource that may be needed to assist with a natural disaster, a man-made disaster, a cybersecurity incident, any of those type things. So if you choose to send resources somewhere, just for your comfort, your resources would still be under the command and control of your jurisdiction or your fire chief or police chief or whomever it may be. And when resources come into the area, same thing. They will still operate under their command and control, but they will be structured under an organizational command, which would be managed by the city of Tifton, or where the event's taking place at. Another thing that you may want to know is there's no commitment to the city of Tifton to send. If there's a request sent out, just because you enter this agreement doesn't mean you have to send your resources. If you want to hold them back, say it's a storm event or something, and you've been hit yourself, the city can hold your resources back at any time. I'll answer any other questions, but that's the statewide mutual aid agreement with Georgia Homeland Emergency Management.
Any questions, gentlemen, for Joey? Okay. It's something that, that we've had the opportunity to experience, both receiving resources and sending out resources. I know last year when the storm hit Valdosta, they were struck, it was just so terrible. I know we all sent resources to try to help Valdosta and Lowndes County. So it's good to be able to know that you can call on your neighbors when something happens, and that they will call on you when something happens. So this is a good program for all of us. So thank you, Joe. We appreciate you being here this evening. All right. The next item is our review of Lester's application. So Rob, what have you? Hang on, Lester. If you may just be right here. Rob, what have you decided?
Well, Mayor, I have looked as quickly as I could on Robert's Rules of Order to see if there's anything in there, and I can't find it.
Okay.
My concern is that if Mr. Cromer steps down, we don't have three, we don't have a quorum.
Right.
And I'm sure, Cromer wants to move forward with this. What I would suggest, perhaps we put this on as a discussion item at the regular meeting.
Sure.
And then it can then come up for council at the regular meeting and then be voted on.
And then be ready to vote. Are you good with that? Okay. Are you good with that, MJ? Okay.
So
do
we'll
we need any kind of, do we need kind of formal motion to that effect, or?
No, I think what we'll do is just put that on as a discussion item for old business.
Okay, all right, want to make sure okay, as long as that's all good with everybody, we're fine with that. All right, let's discuss our next item, which is the review of the 31 North real estate investors. Does anyone have any questions? I think it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. Okay, all right, so we're good with that. Moving along, the next item on our agenda is the considering an ordinance for amending Chapter 86 to provide for the protection of public trees and penalties for violations. So Michael Mitchum, who has told me he's the Lorax, because he speaks for the trees.
That is
the
tree talk.
I'll call, but his official
That is the
name
nickname that has been
Michael
given to me at
Mitchum.
work. So, even by Emily and everyone else. So that's all good. As y'all know, over the last few months, I've been in front of y'all several times to either present grants that we're applying for or awards that the tree board has been nominated for and won. With that being said, over the last several years between the tree board and the DDA and the Heritage Foundation, hundreds of trees have been planted in downtown, historic district, and even spreading out into the community at small parks and disadvantaged areas and everything else. We've currently just finished up the Relief Grant, planting a little over 100 trees as we're rolling into the TAG grant, the Trees Across Georgia, which is the 4-year grant. In that time, we have had a few of these trees that have been removed by property owners, homeowners, or for various other reasons. And it kind of causes a little bit of disruption in the community. A lot of people are like, it's my property, I can do it, when it's really our right of way, it's our trees that grant money is going to fund. So what we're doing is asking that you amend Chapter 86 to include a few things. There will be a permitting process that everyone will go through if they want to do any planting, pruning, removals of trees or shrubs within the right-of-way or public lands. There will be a punishment or citation that will be issued if they break this, and it's essentially if they remove a tree, they have to replace the tree. Now, it's not as simple as someone going out and cutting down a 100-year-old oak and then just replanting a little small oak that's 1 inch in diameter. What will be done is there will be a measurement of the tree taken at breast height, approximately 4 foot off the ground. If it's a 24-inch tree in diameter, they have to replace 48 inches of tree in diameter. Now, this does not mean they have to go somewhere and try to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to move a huge oak tree in. They can plant multiple trees as long as it equals up to 48 inches in diameter. If the same property owner commits a second offense, it goes up to 3 times the diameter, and there is a stipulation for how long they have to care for the trees in the ordinance as well. So it's really to discourage individuals from going out and just blatantly removing trees that have been funded either by the Heritage Foundation or from grant monies that the board obtains through the various grants we do. Now, they will submit a permit request to community development. The tree board is putting together an inventory of all the grant planted trees over the last several years. It's something Georgia Validez, the chair, has a very good record of, so it will not take much at all. So they can go out working with them and myself as the representative for the city on the tree board. We can go out and look and say, no, that was a grant tree, don't touch it. You know, there of course will be an appeal process that they can go through after that. But for the most part, we want to make sure they're not removing grant planted trees. There really shouldn't be any reason to unless one just dies because of disease or something of that nature. Now, they also can request to remove some of the older trees that are within the right-of-ways due to storm damage, disease, or any other issues. And that's something the board already reviews and gives yay or nay on whether or not they think the tree should be removed. And there's a lot of times with it being in the right-of-way, that is something that we take care of in-house. So a lot of things are staying the same. The biggest thing is we're trying to just make sure we continue to protect the trees within the right-of-way, within the park, within parks around town, and make sure that if someone does remove one, more going back in their place. Something that we've been working on. You've seen the Green Infrastructure Center and come present everything. We're really trying to maintain and grow the city's tree canopy and keep it there for everyone.
Okay. Quick question for you, Florax. How
Yes.
are we going to inform the public about this? This is a pretty big step for us. I think people have sort of gotten used to, like you said, it's my property, I'm just going to cut the tree down and life's going to go on. How do we inform people so that they know we're doing this? Okay.
Emphasizing this as well as on our website. We will have this information out there. Community development also will be open for any questions that we may have, and we'll get together a list of FAQs to pass out to the public should there be any concerns.
I don't know if this is possible, just a suggestion. I don't know if we could do, if we will have an inventory of where all the trees have been planted, where we've used public money, grant money, and donation money. Is it possible to do a door hanger on those yards or at those businesses where
That is something that with the Trees Across Georgia grant, because there is a position in that grant, that is something that we can look at once we fill that position that they can do, because that is part of that position is public outreach, going out into the public, spreading the word of the trees. They will take on the title of Lorax at that point, because they'll be the ones out in the community speaking to people, looking for areas to plant and stuff like that. Just really
have
promoting.
something we could put, to say your property contains these trees, because some people may not know.
Some people don't, and it's kind of disappointing because in my time here, we have planted a lot of these trees in the house, and you just hate to see a tree that you planted 8-10 years ago that's grown up to be 4 to 6 inches in diameter, 20 foot tall. Somebody, just because they don't like it, go out there and cut it down, just because they don't think they need trees.
Right.
So.
Okay. So there'll be more coming with regard to of the other efforts that we can.
That position will have a lot of duties to fill.
Okay.
So.
All right, gentlemen, do y'all have any questions?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate your work with that. Mm-hmm. Our next item is to consider an ordinance amendment to Chamber. I think that's supposed to be Chapter 38, providing for criminal penalties and issuance of citations for nuisance violations. That's a mouthful. So,
yes.
Emily, I'll let you address the concerns about the nuisance violations.
Yes, this is to exactly that, to amend Chapter 38, Article 3 for our nuisance violations. The way it stands right now, anytime code enforcement has a nuisance violation, and per our ordinance, by definition, when we talk about various nuisance of building fences, billboards, dwellings, dilapidated property, it could mean a nuisance could be a broken glass, a missing window, a missing door, graffiti, loose or missing roof shingles, loose or missing window shutters, missing bricks, chipped or absent paint or stain, overgrowth vegetation, any type of tarp or plastic sheeting that exceeds 10 days or more on a dwelling, obnoxious or offensive odors, and accumulation of solid waste. The way it stands right now, we go through a civil process for that and include our attorney on it. To amend this, what we would like to add is that we are able to go through a citation process to where we are able to give ample notice to the resident at that area, go back for reinspection, and then if they do not comply, we're able to write a citation and allow it to go through the court process that way versus going straight to legal with it. So this would amend that. I would also like to include that if you remember our guiding principles, we have 7 principles, 7 goals as a council that we steer into. One of those is creating and maintaining great neighborhoods. We have taken great strides in a lot of our neighborhoods, and this is just one extra thing that is going to expedite those nuisance complaints without having to delay it going through a court process.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, that makes sense. You're good on that? Okay, no questions. All right, thank you, Emily. Appreciate that information. Item number 12 is considering an ordinance to amend Chapter 10, Article 5, to limit the number of Class B amusement machines. So, Emily, you want to talk about that?
Yes. Class B amusement machines, many people would refer to them as slot machine gambling machines that you will find in many of our convenience stores in town or in Tift County in general. State code provides that by state law they can have 9. However, there is a provision in there that local municipalities can adopt an ordinance to limit that to 6. Staff is recommending that we do limit this to 6 for Class B operating amusement machines. And reason being is because typically these machines are concentrated primarily in low-income neighborhoods. They have a financial impact to our community when it comes to gambling addictions. We also have multiple issues with newer developments that are coming into the community without gas pumps. We can't limit that, but they are not concentrated on it being a convenience store. It is more of purpose for housing these coin-operated amusement machines. With a storefront of retail, they may have a few items in the front, but primarily they are illegally operating these gambling machines. Doing it right and not having a cash payout is one thing, but when you have a cash payout, that's a separate thing. I would also like to bring to your attention that in September of 2023, the GBI arrested 6 people for indictments for illegal gambling. This was 5 locations. Those locations were within the city limits that led to 7 arrests. With 9 other facilities throughout Tifton and Tift County, no arrests were made there. So I think that's very clear that we have an issue, and we would like to take control of it before it takes control of our community.
Okay. All right. Any questions, gentlemen, concerning that potential amendment? Okay. All right. Thank you, Emily. All right. That concludes all of our official business. Our next item is our city manager report. Anything you need to share with us this evening?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, I do have one thing.
Okay.
We do have a newly hired communications director, Miss Stacy Green.
Yay.
Stacy comes to us with many, many years of marketing, journalism, public relations, so I'm happy to have her on board and to really get our story out. It is so hard for local governments to tell the story about the impact that we're having on the community and the positive impacts and how people live, work, and play, and I'm very positive that Stacy will have a good impact on us for that.
Absolutely. Well, welcome. We're very glad to work with you. Okay. Is that it, Emily? All you got?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's a big one. That's a good one. Gentlemen, any comments that you all would like to make?
Well, I'm just looking forward to Arts and Black this year.
Yeah.
So I may DJ.
Oh, that's scary.
That's just my big brother. Time to DJ. And his discretion.
There you go.
That's
Okay, wonderful. It's always a fun event. MJ, any comments? Okay, and I'm good too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that unless there's any other business, that concludes our city council meeting, so we are adjourned.